it really pisses me off. Like, that's my pet peeve, when I get drivers who call me complaining. What up, y'all? It's your girl Dollface. I got a message for all the drivers out there that complain about not getting 1,000, 2,000 mile loads. You have the same 11 hours regardless of how many loads you get. So how you work your clock depends on how many miles you get that day and that week, right? So say, for example, you get a 2,500 mile load. The maximum miles that you could drive per day, what, 650 miles maybe? 600, let's just do 600 miles, right? 600 miles is the maximum you could drive that day, because you'll run out of time, right? So say, for example, you get a 600 mile load. You still only have that amount of time to drive to make those 600 miles. Say, for example, you get a 200 mile load. You still have 11 hours on your clock. In 200 miles, you can pick that load up, deliver the load, pick up the next load, deliver that load. You can still drive about 600 miles, because as long as you're on the clock, especially here at this company, as long as you're on the clock, you're going to get paid for those miles. So try to drive 600 miles that day. You do that over and over again, and you drive your full clock, you will get miles. Your check would be great at the end of the week. So why complain because you didn't get a 2,500 mile load? That doesn't make sense to me. Like, stop looking at how many miles the load is, because if you add your deadhead miles to go pick up, like, your empty miles to go pick the load up, your deadhead miles to go get a trailer or relocate to another area in the United States to pick up a load, and you add your miles for your loaded miles or your dispatched miles, and you calculate your clock correctly. For example, say you're going to be in the New York area, New York, New Jersey area. You know it's going to be traffic early in the morning or at rush hour. Strategically plan your load so that you don't have to drive during the hours of traffic, so you can maximize how many miles you drive in a day or that shift. So try to drive overnight, right? You know you have to go to New York. You got to sacrifice something, right? So do you want to shut down early so that you can wake up at midnight so you can drive through New York in midnight so you don't have to worry about traffic or construction? It really pisses me off. Like, that's my pet peeve, when I get drivers who call me complaining. Man, I had a 2,500 mile load and they took it off of me. So what? Okay, as long as you're not sitting here waiting for loads, why in the hell are you complaining? Okay, so what if you got a 200 mile load? Hurry up and pick that damn load up and deliver it and get the next load. Just don't worry about the load mileage that you're getting. Worry about how many miles you're driving that day, because you're getting paid to drive all of those miles. So as long as you clock 600 miles that day, if you look on your tablet and your tablet says you drove 600 miles that day, bank that as a part of the miles that you're going to be putting on your check. It doesn't matter how many miles the load is. Y'all need to get out of that mindset. Get out of that mindset. It don't make sense to me. Am I making sense? Or am I just speaking jibber jabber to y'all? Put it down in the comments. How do y'all run y'all clock? Because does it make sense to y'all? Because it don't make sense to me when people call and complain about that. Like, I have a mentee that has been on my line 24/7 complaining, and at this point I don't know how to help him. I don't know how to help him. Because it's not just the miles that he's complaining about. It's just his work ethic. And you know those type of people that create the issue and then complain because they have an issue? That's him. And I'm vouching for him, but the information that I just found out about, I feel stupid. And most of the time when people call me complaining, they're complaining about how many miles they're getting. Then they make the company look bad because they act like they're not making any money because they're getting all these loads that's 200 and 300 mile loads. First of all, think about it. If we tell you most of our freight is east of I-35, you're not getting no 2,500 mile load. 2,500 mile loads is usually from like Texas to California. We don't go to like Florida really that much. We have certain lanes. So I don't see you getting a 2,500 mile load. Very, very rarely you might do that. So that right there should tell you something. So then you should even rearrange your mindset to think, okay, I'm not about to be getting 2,000 and 3,000 mile loads. So how can I maximize my clock and drive as many miles as possible? This is how I see it. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But this is how I see it. And I haven't had a problem with my check since. Unless I'm sitting waiting for loads and I'm just sitting around taking 34s and shit. Then I have a problem. But if I'm not sitting, this is how I drive. I don't care about the miles as my load is concerned. I don't care about that. What I care about is how many miles I drove that day. No matter what, I try to drive 600 miles a day. Because if I drive 600 miles a day, then what? Let's see. I'm about to calculate it because I'm not good at math. So yeah, no, I'm not about to be doing all of that. So 600 miles a day times, I'll just even say 5 days. 600 times 5, that's 3,000 miles. That's 3,000 miles that could be put on your paycheck. So give or take 500 miles because of sitting, traffic, blah, 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 getting loaded, blah, blah, blah. You understand where I'm coming from? Maybe you're not understanding where I'm coming from. Let's see if we could try something else. We about to go over here and we're going to look at this. No, I can't even do that because I'm on a whole different account. So I can't even show y'all that. But I challenge anybody who is working at Variant. I challenge y'all. Send me your logs. I don't even want to see your logs. I want to see your dispatch miles. I want to see your past loads. And then I want to see so I want your 8-day past loads and I want your 8-day past logs. You can have them emailed to yourself. And then we're going to get on the phone. We're going to talk. And I want you to explain to me, especially if you're not getting miles or if you feel like you're not making no money. I want you to explain to me every day and what the situation was with that load. And I bet you I'll be able to point out an area where you can improve. I just can't understand. If you have to worry about 3,000, 2,000, 3,000 mile loads and that's all you're worried about, you're worried about the wrong fucking thing. Stop worrying about the load. Worry about what you can do today. Worry about how many miles you can drive today. Miles that's going to be put on your check. Don't worry about the load because those loads add up. Don't worry about how many miles that load is. The time you're worrying about how many miles that load is if that load is 200 miles, but you got a 4-hour live load and a 6-hour live unload. Then I'm going to worry about the miles. Or you delivered a load on Wednesday, but your next load don't pick up until Friday morning. And you can't even deliver that load until Monday and it's only 200 miles. Then I'm going to worry about that. But if you're constantly getting dispatched on loads and you're not sitting, why in the hell are you worried about it that it's being 200 to 300 miles? So what? Hurry up and pick the load up and deliver it. Because driving to pick the load up, you're getting paid. Driving on that load, you're getting paid. Driving to deliver that load, you're getting paid. Driving to pick up the next load, you're getting paid. So why are you even concerned and tripping? Hurry up and clock those miles. When I get loads like that, I don't even take a 30-minute break until actually I'm counting down to 8 hours. Like literally, it's a rush to get to the truck stop before I go in violation. That means when I start my clock after my pre-trip until like 7 hours and 29 minutes and 30 seconds, I'm driving. Take my 30-minute break and get fuel at the same time. Then I drive another 2.5 hours, maybe. Or hour and a half, depending on how many miles the load is. And I'm parking. And I'm trying to park at like 10 a.m. so I can start driving between 8 p.m. and midnight. So I don't have to worry about traffic. I don't have to worry about slowdowns, driving 55 miles an hour. I don't have to worry about way stations slowing me down, because every minute that you're not driving, every minute that you're not doing 68 miles an hour or 65 miles an hour, you're missing out on 65 cents per minute. $35 an hour. So every hour that you're not driving, just calculate that. You need to make sure you are driving 600 miles a day, at least, if you can afford it. And with that, I'm out. Back with the next one. Deuces.